Hi there, I'm Lillian. Here I like to talk about what it's like to wake up and find out that you're married to a covert narcissist. How I was baited through love bombing, trapped by a trauma bond, and stuck blind in Stockholm Syndrome for 34 years. I hope by sharing my journey of how God released me from that captivity and gave me back the freedom and control over my own life, that He will use me as an example to any sister in Christ that might be stuck like I was, unable to tell the difference between love and abuse. If it's you, that you will allow our God to heal and restore your feminine heart so that you too will be able to see the difference between a difficult husband and a dangerous man. If you want to dig deeper into the content I've shared today, there's a PDF worksheet that goes along with each video. Or if you'd like some support as you're making your way on your journey, please reach out. There's a link in the description box if you'd like to do either one of those, or both. I respond to emails the last week of each month, and I would love to hear from you. So today, I'm starting with a question. What does it mean to be authentically feminine? And the short of it is that it means being your true self unapologetically, being real with yourself so that you have the freedom and ability to be real with others. So that first question naturally leads to a second. Why aren't you authentically feminine? What has stopped you? What is stopping you? For me, it was that I needed to heal. But I couldn't heal if I didn't even know what needed to be fixed. And until you're healed, you can't know the real you. You might know some things about yourself, glimmers of the woman you want to be, and glimpses of the woman you think you should be. But the real, true inner girl, my Lillian, was elusive behind layers of emotional mess that I had created in order to function. If you were to take a string of Christmas lights that was about 100 feet long, but instead of it being stretched out straight and easy and visible, it's tightly balled up in a knotted mess. That was the true me on the inside. Every wrap of that cord represented an effort to fix myself by trying to fix outward actions. I didn't know it at the time, but what I was doing was using a masculine mindset in an attempt to change my outward behaviors. I was operating in the good works of my own flesh, focusing on outcomes, so focused on those righteous behaviors that everyone else, I wanted to be and look like everyone else, so I did what they were doing. It made me so tightly wrapped that I couldn't see the real me anymore. So I never got to the real problem, which was the brokenheartedness that God wanted to heal. All I ended up doing was continually swapping out the indicators year after year. So the root problem, which was the core wound to myself, it just kept surfacing as different symptoms. Without God to heal the deepest parts of you, those parts that are elusive, even to you because you've hidden them so well, all you can do is focus on symptoms that sit on the surface of yourself. Surface symptoms are something that what I call is the what. What is the action that needs to change? And that's the easy part. It's obvious to see what behavior needs to be changed. Identifying and calling out what needs to change is only the beginning. It's just the start of the journey, not the end. There's no solution in identifying what's wrong. Simply stopping or changing a behavior is merely behavioral modification. It's not healing. The real work of healing and change happens when you push into the what. Push underneath the what and ask why. Like if you have a problem with fear, you can study all the do not fears God has written into His Word. You can read every book about conquering fear in order to change the behavior. But you'll never get to the real problem of your fear because you're not asking the right question for you from the right location in your body. So when I say I didn't really know me, I didn't really know the little Lillian that was living inside of grown-up Lillian's body, that I only had glimpses of her. That's what I mean. You live disconnected from yourself. You feel disconnected from your own inner girl because you are. If you've been trapped into a marriage by a covert narcissist, your body is just doing the job that it was intended to do, which is protect you. Your grown-up body instinctively pulls tighter on those strands that you first laid as a broken little girl, who, by the way, remember, is still alive inside of you, while you add new layers on top of her. It's impossible to consciously know who you really are when the real you, that inner girl, is being subconsciously hidden by your body to stop a covert narcissist from intentionally deconstructing her. You might not sense the danger that lives around you, but your body sure does. Like a scab that grows over a wound on your skin to protect what's inside, or like the mucus and cough that's created when you've got a cold in order to get rid of bacteria. It's like a scar tissue that's created with a physical injury for your back, or like a corn on your foot. Your body was created to do all these functions automatically to protect itself. You don't even have to think about it. Well, there's a virus trying to consume your mind, heart, and soul from the inside. And that means that virus has gotten inside your body. And because there is a mind-body connection, your body's immune system is going to increase her self-protection from that virus that's called a wolf. This is the war that's going on inside of you. It's impossible for a healthy, embodied female to emerge from the little girl who's damaged and being hidden. It's impossible because she cannot humanly mature and grow through all those strands and lights. They were meant to protect her because that's all she had, but what seemed like protection actually stopped her natural growth and maturity. Picture a big ball of a mess of Christmas lights. On one side is your hand, frantically wrapping tighter and tighter, but on the other side is God's hand, gently pulling every strand straight to unwrap you. The woman I was on the outside is not the truth of who I was on the inside. I wanted to be a stronger daughter of God, lots of power in Him through lots of growth and maturity. And you know what? That's what I looked like on the outside. But in truth, I was locked into gullible naivety, that immature woman in 2 Timothy 3. The gullible woman overwhelmed by sins and led astray by a variety of passions, always learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth. And you know what? I knew it. I just didn't want to accept it. This is what God means when He says, overwhelmed by sins and led astray. When I read those words, overwhelmed by sin, I wrongly, automatically thought evil. I believed it was because I was overwhelmed by evil intentions. Not everyone else, just me. I was ashamed because I was afraid people would think I was evil and bad, so the tighter I wrapped. But gullible and naive women are not evil. We're made to look evil because we are so easily taken advantage of. We'll do anything for anyone, be anything for anyone at any time, just for a single drop of love, affection, and connection. We're not evil. We're profoundly brokenhearted, and predators know that. The foundation of yourself is still there, deep inside you, the you God created you to be. While you lived in that unformed substance, that's the real you. I see her like a tiny star who is the real you. The trouble is that you've wrapped those cords so tightly around her, like I said, it's impossible to disentangle to see your real self. We did it with much protective care, wrong self-care, and we don't want to disturb that. You'd think that wrong self-care would lead to wrong self-love, but it doesn't. It leads to zero self-love because there's no self to love. When we were little, we learned about God from our primary caregiver. Whoever you spent the most amount of time around is how your little heart and mind was imprinted. We identify who God is with who they were, how they treated us. We don't learn that He's real. That knowledge of God, He put inside of us before we were born. But it's the nature of how we were parented from age 0 until the age of accountability that has shaped what we think about God. Depending on how that view was shaped, you created a mess using your own resources because the identification you made about yourself was not your true self. The size of the mess or the self-protectiveness that you created on the inside of you was determined by the method of parenting and how far removed that method was away from God, His likeness, and precepts. God and Satan want to detangle that mess inside of you, but for different reasons. A wolf wants to get at that inner you because its ultimate goal is to kill you through consuming you. He wants to deconstruct in order to devour and kill the real you, that tiny little girl that lives inside of you. Don't think that wolves don't go after little children. We all want to sing and only believe the songs sung in Sunday school, that Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. Yes, He does. But in our ignorance, we forget that there's an enemy that hates all the little children of the world. The proof of that is because when Jesus was 2 years old, he had a wolf in sheep's clothing going after him, Herod, a self-identified Jew. We're told straight out by Jesus that if we're truly chosen and following Him, we are going to go through what He went through. Satan is going to pursue you. But God, He seeks your collaboration in your own healing. He wants to reach into that mess of balled up, knotted confusion and deconstruct it with you to recreate the you He meant you to be all along, born again. Through all those ill-placed protective layers, He wants you to see why you created it, when you did it. He wants you to see everything so that you'll let Him recover and heal you so that you can reconstruct yourself. And that everything that He's trying to show you, and that includes the experiences of how you were hurt or abused and who did it, not just what the behavior is because of it. In order to heal, you have got to walk through one of the scariest and most painful processes you can walk through as a woman. You've got to see how you were unprotected and who did it. We know the why. Satan is the why. Your healing is part of a spiritual battle. That's why you need faith in God as you dig into your own muck. Those areas that reveal our truest selves, those parts are weak, bruised, and broken, sometimes destroyed, almost beyond recognition. I'm going to pause here because I want you to know I'm going to share some graphic illustrations because I'm trying to get you to identify with what it feels like when you look at yourself in that beaten up state. It's like watching a dog fight between a pit bull and a puppy, or a gang rape of a 10-year-old girl, or a kitten that's been hit by a car and is still alive. Like the scene in Band of Brothers when they arrive at the concentration camp and the soldiers can't believe they're looking at real people because they're literally skin and bone. They've never seen anything like it. We avert our eyes because it's too hard to stomach. We don't have the space inside of us for that. That's the feeling you experience as you will look into your own abyss. Who wants to look at that? It's revolting and nauseating. We get glimpses of evil being done to others, and we can turn it off with a click on the remote or the click of a mouse. But when the evil has damaged you, it's the pain from the little girl who lives inside you. All you can do is continually pull tighter in protectiveness so that you can cover her up with those same strands of twinkle lights you've been using since childhood, in hopes that no one sees her. But you have to carry her around inside of you. You can't look away. The question for you is, are you going to keep her hidden by your own strength? Or are you going to let God pull on those strands gently so he can heal her? Because I believe if you're married to a dangerous man, that's what he's trying to do. Closing thoughts. First, shh. Don't say a word about this to him. Discovering that your husband's dangerous is a scary place to end up. It's never where you thought you'd be, and it feels like an unreality. But your silence about your awareness of what he really is, that's your safety zone. And always remember, a clueless guy that causes dysfunction and seems difficult, he's not dangerous. But the malignant man is not clueless. He just pretends to be difficult and dysfunctional so that he can hide how dangerous he is.